But this is the second edition. The first one was very much based on my teaching at the time, as I was teaching dyslexic children to read and to spell, and it became of more general interest. And in this book I put the history of the English language first instead of second, which was here, and then went on from there, because the history of our language has made a great had a great influence on the spelling of words. For instance, the French word like centre is very much spelt in the French way. The Vikings came and raided our shores, and a lot of them settled, and they brought the letter K, which they use in their language and pronounce. So a knee is a knee, and a knife is a knieve. Well, if you visualize words, then you've got the picture of the word in your mind. If you're the sort of person that maybe visualizes in pictures, then it's very difficult to spell some of our words, because they've been influenced by the original languages, and therefore, if you know that the Vikings brought a K, then it's not so surprising that knee begins with K. In Scandinavian languages, that K is pronounced, but for us, before an N, it's dropped. I don't know why. In the second part of the book, which deals with the structure of English words, we start off with short vowels. That's A, E, I, O, and A. And after a short vowel, you double the consonant. And therefore, granny is gr-a. My granddaughter always used to spell it with one N, and I said gr, and she said a, and I said long or short. Oh, short, 2 N's she writes, and she has written it correctly ever since. Okay. If a word is going to end in ing, meaning it's continuous, you take the word, for instance, plan, pl, a, short vowel, so you're going to have 2 N's before adding the suffix ing. Run, running, shop, shopping. It all goes back to 1962, when my son started school, and I thought if I could earn some money, it would help with family finances. I had no idea what to do, but the husband of a friend of mine said to me, and I can still hear him, "Joy, you have a degree, which is a teaching qualification, and the country's crying out for teachers. Why don't you do something?" And I thought, oh, he said it so forcibly that I thought I must do something. So I made some inquiries, and the wife of the village schoolmaster told me that they were looking for somebody in the area to teach a 12-and-a-half-year-old girl who was totally illiterate. Oh, I said, no, I don't know anything about teaching reading and spelling, and I turned it down. But they couldn't find anyone else. And one day I got on my bike and I cycled over to where she lived, knocked on the door expecting to see the mother, and who should answer to the door but this girl called Sylvia, I found out later, and she was clutching a hanky and fighting back tears in the house on her own because both parents were working. And I was so taken aback by her predicament, and she asked me in, and somebody told the mother who was working across the road that there was a visitor, and she came over, and I began to hear this story about how Sylvia would lock herself in the bathroom every morning until the school bus had gone, because she couldn't face secondary school when she couldn't read and write. And I was so taken by this terrible situation of hers that I thought I must do something. And so I agreed to teach her. And one day she showed me an exercise book in which she had written 2 or 3 lines, and I realized that she had no idea that letters represented sounds when you built them into words. So I started to teach her basic phonics. So she was much happier, and before long she was happy that she was learning to read and write. She was happy that she could get out of the house, and when I arrived in the morning she'd come tumbling out all smiles with perhaps a hen's egg for me or a few flowers or something, and the change in her was enormous. Over the years I taught many different people, from the highest in the land to the lowliest, from the richest to the poorest, they all came. I've taught many pupils over the years, mostly male, but occasionally female, and I had a lovely email from one of my first pupils telling me how, although he'd had a tough career, he had since acquired an MSc in environmental management, in which he'd completed his 55,000 word dissertation in 6 weeks, and professionally he's a chartered fellow of the Institute of Safety and Health. It's lovely to hear from some of my old pupils how they've got on and feel they've benefited from the lessons they've had with me, and I do hope this book will help others and will be enjoyed.